How's it going, YouTube? Dallasboi here, back at another Pokemon Black and White Wi-Fi battle. In this battle, I'm going up against Mulvone19. I probably mispronounced that, but yeah. We had this battle on the AX chat, and story behind this is, he actually came up to ask me for a battle, because I'm the only member that was not a moderator on the chat that was around at the time. So he asked me for a battle. I kind of airmailed on it. And after some time later, we actually got this battle going. So anyways, looking at the teams, I kind of see the Celebi as very threatening, and the Dragonite is always a big threat on any team, no matter what it is. So yeah, get rid of the Dragonite is pretty much the game plan here. But the most important part of my team is probably gonna be my Heatran. So if I keep him alive, then I probably should be a-okay for this match. So I hope you guys enjoy this battle, and let's get this show on the road. My opponent's going to be leading off with the Swampert, and I'm going to be leading off with my Gelatin. And I feel that the Stealth Rocks are going to be a little obvious, because first turn and whatnot in the point move game. So I'm just going to go for the taunt to block those rocks and whatnot. So yeah. So now I'm going to be switching out into my Heatran, knowing that his Celebi is going to be coming out. So yeah, I kind of surprised myself there going with that double switch. So anyways, I'm just gonna be setting up my rocks because he still has that Dragonite, and that's a pretty big threat. But Celebi does hit my Heatran with Thunder Wave, which is pretty unfortunate, but it shouldn't really matter too much in this game, and you'll see why. But now the Fire Blast is very obvious, so he's gonna be switching Starmie to take it, and it doesn't take it that well. And now I'm gonna be sending in my Tyranitar, kind of thinking that he's gonna spin. But he does go for the Hydro Pump, and thanks to the Sandstorm, I do live that with 35. And I actually kind of knew that I was going to live a Hydro Pump, because, yeah, Tyranitar is very bulky in the sand. So there I go for the Crunch to finish off the Starmie, and now his potential Rapid Spinner is out of the way. Now out comes Lucario. I feel that a fighting move is kind of obvious, so I switch into my Gelatin to kind of wall this thing, but he does go for the Sword Stance, but that Sword Dance doesn't really matter because Gelatin kind of walls Lucario without Crunch, which I don't think it has, because you'll see why a little later. Now out comes Celebi to take the obvious Will-O-Wisp, and it does very nicely. So I'm trying to find a way to get my Tyranitar in on the Celebi safely. So I'm just gonna be switching in Fortresses, kind of fodder and whatnot here. And yeah, I just got a little bit ahead of myself in the narration. So Celebi does go for the obvious Giga Drain on my Fortress. I take that really well because it's Squad Resisted and Fortress is a defensive monster. Well, physically at least. But I do see Celebi does carry that Hidden Power Fire. So I'm thinking that this Tinkerbell set with T-Wave, Recover, Hidden Power Fire, and Giga Drain, which pretty much confirms that I walled that Celebi with Heatran. But I do go into my Tyranitar just to try to take this thing out as soon as possible. And I thought he would have valued it here, and I went for the pursuit, but it actually tanks it very nicely and gets off a Recover. So yeah, if I went for the Crunch there, then this Celebi would have been out of the way early, and I would have had one less thing to get preoccupied with. But now I'm going to be sending out my Flame Spade Fanboy. I gave away the nickname. Well, my Heatran, and take a Giga Drain, but lose my Air Balloon. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that I do lose the Air Balloon, but it doesn't really matter, because the only thing with the ground move that can threaten me is potentially Swampert, which he goes into now, and the Dragonite in the wing, probably, provided that he does have that. So now, Swampert does go in to take the Fire Blast very nicely, and yeah, I feel that the Stealth Rocks here are very obvious, so I switch to my Dragonite, but he actually goes to the Toxic, and this is a bulky Adamant Dragonite, so yeah, that doesn't bode too well for me, because yeah, I kind of lose my multi-scale and whatnot, so yeah. But now he makes a questionable switch into Celebi, as I go for the Dragon Dance, and yeah, I feel that from that range of health that Celebi's at, I can easily take it out with the Dragon Claw, and that's that threat out of the way. But he's actually going to be switching into his Heatran to Sponge Dragon Claw, and from the damage after Stealth Rocks and the +1 Dragon Claw, yeah, that's looking like a good 3-hit KO. And I kind of thought that I was walled by this thing, but yeah, as you'll see here, he actually goes to Dragon Pulse now Speed Me, which confirms that this is a Choice Scarf Heatran, and that actually caught me really off guard. But now this gives me an opportunity. I'm going to be sending in my own Heatran, and I'm going to predict his Dragonite switch in, and go for the HP Ice, and yeah, that is pretty much a dead Dragonite since the Stealth Rock busted its multi-scale, and yeah, big threat averted. So now, how comes his own Heatran again, and I know the Earth Power is coming, so I'm going to be switching in my Fortress's Death Spotter, just so I can get a safe switch into my Reuniclus. So, yeah. Now, out comes Club with the Reuniclus. I kind of know that he's going to switch out, so I go for the Calm Mind. I probably could have gone for the Trick, but it was a little bit risky. So, yeah, what can you do? Now, my Flame Orb is exposed, and here he makes a very questionable move in going for the Ice Punch, staying in with the Lucario, and I do get off the Trick and get his Life Orb, and he gets my Flame Orb, and yeah, this is pretty much where I think I've got this battle in the bag, because his Lucario's burned, and he doesn't have too much for my Reuniclus. So now, off the obvious switch in, I'm just going to be going for the Calm Mind. Heatran pelts me with the Fire Blast next turn, and I get off the Psychic, and that Scarf Heatran is out of the way. So now he's got Swampert, Lucario, and Celebi left. Swampert's the next best thing to take a hit. Here he goes to the Earthquake, and I go for the Psychic. Yeah, I really should have gone for the Recover there, and I probably could have had a bit of a Reuniclus sweep going on for the rest of the battle, but hindsight's 20/20, and I actually kind of forgot that Reuniclus' speed just, like Kristen Stewart's acting ability, it just doesn't exist. So I just lose my Reuniclus to an Earthquake back there. Now comes Jellicent. I fire off the Skull to try to take this thing out, but I don't. It lives with the Smidgen, and Swampert's able to get off a Toxic on me. Doesn't really matter too much since it's late game and whatnot. But, yeah. It will kind of hamper my Jellicent's walling abilities. But as if that matters this late in the game. But, yeah, afterwards I just take that Swampert out with a Scald, and now all he's left with is his burnt Lucario and his Celebi, which he sends out right now. And the obvious Giga Drain is very, very obvious, so I'm going to be switching into my Heatran, but he actually goes for the Recover. But, yeah, that's the better trade-off, because, yeah, you get more health that way, and whatnot. And Celebi does go for another Recover. I think he was, I don't know, probably he was banking on the Paralysis and whatnot, but Heatran goes for the Fire Blast and cleanly takes out that Celebi. But, yeah. So now his last Pokemon's Lucario. Lucario just goes for the Sword Dance because he kind of knows that this battle's over, and I'm just going to be going for the Earth Power. I'm going to cleanly take out this Lucario, and that will be the game. So, yeah, I did have a lot of fun with this battle, Mulvone19. So, yeah, great game. So, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.